Want to rise above what holds you back? These are the stories of those fighting that battle. It might also be the story of you. I'm Dan Waldschmidt, author of Edgy Conversations and strategist of billion-dollar companies all over the world. This is Mark Minard, author of The Story of You, the guy who knows a thing or two about never giving up. You're listening to Elevating Beyond. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Elevating Beyond. With a two-word mission statement, change lives. Listen, as I'm sitting here this evening at my office at Dreamshine, I'm not in the Elevating Beyond studio. I'm at my company Dreamshine on our 2.5 acres outside of Columbus, Ohio. It's a wooded lot. It's dark outside now. No one's here but me, and I'm still working. It's the week of Thanksgiving, and I decided it's really time to start doing some podcast episodes that I just really, no more BS at a whole new level. And I'm purposely not even booking some guests just for some of this ongoing. Well, you all know I do that anyway, but I've been just taking some notes and paying attention and realizing, I just kept feeling like, Mark, you should do like a mental health series, especially for people out there like me that are business owners, small business owners, leaders that have been dealing with this whole thing, this whole COVID and a bajillion other things since March. And gosh, the anxiety, the anger, I just actually let out a good cry of tears about 3 hours ago that just hit me out of nowhere. And I just learned, you know what? Let it go, let it pass. It's all right. There wasn't any specific thing, but truly there's a bajillion specific things. And I really wanted to share, and I'm just talking with all of you all, how like our mindset like gets on me and it thinks like, Mark, what's wrong with you? Like, how could you be tearing up and crying and you're supposed to be holding it all together all the time? And then this false sense of guilt because I'm working, we're working on so many things behind the scenes. And it's like, oh, but because you've been working on that, you're not focused on working on this other thing, and other part of your company that you need to be working on. And the truth is, we're all dealing with what we need to be dealing with in our own way and working very hard, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to have these feelings of anger, of this guilt that comes, this false guilt, or hey, sometimes it's real guilt of I haven't been doing this the right way, I need to change this and do that. If it's the right kind of guilt that provokes you to have a change for the better, that's good. If it's the wrong kind, that's just like that voice in your head that I always say is the enemy, the devil, because I believe in God, as all of you know, and your mindset just trying to falsely make you feel like you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, you should be doing this. Oh my gosh, people aren't gonna like you, people aren't gonna respect you on your team because they're not seeing you physically working these hundreds and hundreds of hours behind the scenes, and what if they don't know, and blah 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 blah, just all this crap. That's not real guilt, that's false. That's the enemy just trying to steal your thoughts and honestly your energy and your focus, which is really needed. And even that false guilt of like feeling worried and angry at times and upset and anxious and letting out a good cry, that's called being a freaking human being. And that's okay. And as a matter of fact, if you weren't going through these different types of emotions throughout all this, you would be a sociopath. So good for you. You're a human being, and that's a beautiful thing. What I want to talk about even more, what all of you I know continue to do, is to not get stuck in those places of emotions and then start dwelling and then start digging a hole and then having a pity party and then falling into a pit and falling deeper and deeper and deeper and creating it to be worse than it needs to be, and how to really climb out and keep going and continue to focus that energy on moving forward, on moving onward, on moving upward. And the analogy that I always continue to use with my company Dream Shine, I talk about it with my team all the time, my head program director, is like our ship. And I'm like, no matter what, our ship isn't gonna sink. We're gonna continue to do everything to not only protect and build our ship, but because our foundation has been built up strong throughout the years, we're going to continue to build it stronger and stronger, and we will overcome this storm. We will weather this storm, and we will come out. We're not just going to get through it. We're going to come out freaking stronger at a whole nother level than ever before. But as I'm recording this, it's not like this whole thing is just over. I mean, we're still in the midst of so many weird unknowns. And when I say weird, and where a part of the anger comes in too, is we're being overdosed with so much information from all forms of social media, of the news, just blasted at you. This is happening, that's happening. And I hate to use the word shaming, like some type of victim mindset, but like shaming you as a small business owner. You know, how dare you have a small business during COVID, and God forbid you're keeping it open. Yeah, we're gonna say it's okay, but it's frowned upon, and you should feel guilty about that. Like all this stuff telling us how we're supposed to feel. That is that's where the anger comes, and it's justified because it's a bunch of freaking BS. The freaking news, the media, social media don't allow it to tell you how to freaking feel. That's between you and God. Get the facts the best that you can, the rounded facts, ongoing facts, I'm saying, and then go to God with it and continue to take action accordingly between what's between you and God in your heart, and feel freaking awesome about it, because small business owners are my heroes. We make up over 49% of the jobs in the US. We're literally the backbone of the economy, and we pay into all the different taxes. I'm here in Ohio, we pay federal taxes, state taxes, we pay into the unemployment that's helping people that don't have jobs. We pay at every level that's helping fund all these things where there's being needs right now. So don't you dare allow the news, which, by the way, I'm going to say this honestly about the news. The news is a business. And isn't it very, very convenient for them to say, shame on you, you should be staying home more and watching more of us. And we're gonna fill you with more fear, and we're gonna keep you hooked and fill you with more fear and worry and drama and guilt. And how dare you do this? Stay home more, watch more of us. I don't care what station you watch more. Because guess what? They're getting more viewers than ever in history. Which means the news businesses are making more money than ever in history. And I love, and they're controlling the narrative. And I'm being 100% real with you. Isn't it very convenient? And it's not okay, by the way, because to be doing that and not really researching their stories in depth like they used to, and just making these quick shock value things that grab people in and feel them off the fear to get more views, to make more money that they don't ever want to talk about. Meanwhile, allowing the destruction to happen of the mental health throughout the country, of the kids that aren't going to school that could at least have the option to do so, that are being at home, some that don't even have parents involved at all, and the parents that aren't able to get the child care for them, and how they're dealing with that at a whole other level. For example, even our clients with developmental disabilities, some of them have been in situations where they have felt they have to stay home in their group homes, and even some of the group homes have forced them, which is illegal by the way, but use the whole news guilt thing. We want to protect them and not send them to your company where you're doing all these things with them, physical therapy, engaging them, creating options for them on so many different levels, mentally, physically, that we had some detrimental effects, not from COVID, by the way, but from them not getting any physical activity and being totally short-staffed in their homes. We had several individuals having extremely escalated behaviors, and some that had extreme physical symptoms that led them into the ER from getting no physical activity throughout this, that became so dangerous it led them to the ER, not from COVID. As a result of them not having the freedom of choice to come to a place like ours, where one of their goals is getting physical activity, and the care and the services we provide day by day that are helping make them healthier and build up their immune system on so many different levels, which is needed throughout this. So it's not okay. And that's where I'm not even going to call it anger. I'm going to say it's flat out wrong. And you either stand for something, as I believe Martin Luther King Jr. said, or fall for everything. And yes, we get through this, we battle through this, and we can't control all the circumstances, but also there's a time where you do need to fight for what is right and what your why is. And I know for me, when it comes to our clients and our amazing individuals we serve, when I saw this happening and that it was actually affecting their health and their well-being and their options and their freedom, that's not right, and I'm not going to stand for it. I've been writing to you, Governor DeWine of Ohio. That's right. And I told you I was going to talk about it on today's show, about how you need to connect with me and we can have a bigger rounded conversation about how to go about this whole thing, with different options and different plans of action and strategies that we have put in place that are actually working, versus this whole A or B, picking and choosing which businesses are going to be randomly opened or closed, which is a dictatorship, and it's not okay. It's not okay. And you're affecting the health and safety by these choices of our amazing individuals with developmental disabilities. By saying you're, quote, protecting them and helping them, you're endangering them. And that's not okay. And I know there's so many other business owners that are going through it on each of your own level, and I get it. Trust me, I get it. But I want to tell you this. Number one, we are still standing. We're still standing. And this is what we do. We've been through a lot. These scars we get, we wear them as badges of honor. And remember that. And remember, try to keep those emotions in check. Don't make a temporary decision based on a moment of madness. Don't make a decision based on a temporary feeling that you're having. Take a deep breath, let that good cry out. But also, when it's justified, don't just be walked all over like a doormat when it's affecting the health and services of and well-being of the clients that you serve, of your employees that you pay. And guess what? They're depending on that paycheck to eat, to pay rent, to feed their children. For starters, my team members, we have a full health benefits, dental plan, and so much more. They're counting on me and my company for all that. So it's bigger than us. It's so much bigger than us. And don't you dare let any freaking fool out there try to shame you when we're already going above and beyond following these guidelines. Yes, we want everyone to be safe from COVID, of course, but there's a billion other things that are involved in this as well. And we're following all the CDC guidelines above and beyond. Serving at lower capacities even. We've even been building and spending all this money, happy to do it, rightfully so, creating all these other different entrances at Dream Shine, installing all these different dividers in our vehicles. We've been doing so much, always above and beyond. We're in the safety guidelines, we're above them, we're beyond them. I'm going to keep saying this, and then to feel ridiculed when they come out and say, oh gosh, yeah, you can be open, but you're going to be putting people at risk. Don't let them tell you how to feel. The people telling you how to feel, like I said on those news channels, is very convenient for them to be very judgmental as they sit there and they're making more freaking money than ever by getting more people to watch the news than ever, and they don't want to admit it. But this COVID pandemic going away is going to be a huge loss of revenue to them. Or else they're going to try to stir up some whole other type of drama and prolong it and make it go on as long as they can. And that's the facts. So if anyone should be shamed or yelled at or discouraged, it's the news, the bigger news stations that aren't doing their correct job accurately sharing the real facts and the stories, to not just be one-sided and fear-based. And so it goes like this. Our Governor DeWine recently shared how, we've had an increase in cases in Ohio of COVID. And also they've been doing more testing than ever, actually than any other flu or anything's ever been tested in the history of the world. So of course you're going to see higher results, right? Well, being safe, we all get it. It's important. And we also need to have choices. And our governor gets up here and announces, now listen up, everyone of Ohio. We have 4,363 people in the hospital due to COVID. I agree. Those are our high numbers. When we're only focusing on one thing only, we're seeing the highest numbers of testing. We don't have all the details of the breakdown of that, but there's one way where he puts it like that and says it's escalating and this is going to be overcrowding our hospitals and we're going to run out of healthcare workers, and this is on you guys and you need to be staying at home and you need to be in fear, and how dare you, and shame on you. And by the way, Thanksgiving, don't have more than 10 people at your house. We're gonna have a 10:30 p.m. curfew, because all this is gonna magically resolve COVID, like we created it or something. On the flip side of that, there's another way you could talk about that. Yes, the hospitalizations have increased. Everyone continue to be safe. We have the mask mandate. We all understand that. Continue to take action on that with the businesses, with going out. But out of 693 people, there's 315 hospitals in Ohio, which averages about 13 people per hospital. If you really break it down, that's not completely overcrowding it, dude. And don't act like there's not any other options, like there's only 2 freaking hospitals in the entire state here. That is where the other end needs to come in. But thank God we have 315 hospitals. We want to continue to be vigilant. We want to continue to be safe. And we can continue to make a strategy if we should need to make sure we're helping spread those out as much as we can. Right now, that would average out to 13 people per freaking hospital. Come on, man. We need to come together and be opening up the other side of this instead of just all the fear and the doom and the gloom and the shaming of small businesses. Several good friends of mine own gyms and fitness centers. They're going way above and beyond with the health and safety. I go to the gym all the time. That helps me with my sanity. Guess what else? It helps me with my immune system, with my heart, with my respiratory. And isn't that a beautiful thing? That's what we should be promoting more, is building your immune system up throughout all this and forever. Not saying, oh, we've been seeing more outbreaks and we're gonna pick the gyms because we've seen that more, even though they're following full protocol. And on the other end of that, I forgot to mention, out of all these cases, they love to conveniently leave out that out of the 100,000 people we had in the state that have had COVID, like 99.9 thousand of them have recovered wonderfully and are doing just fine. I'm not saying it's not serious, but what I'm saying is you can't only control one side of the story without giving the other side of the rounded facts. I talk about it all the time. The worst type of leader, Adolf Hitler, leads off of fear, dictates off of fear. We're here to keep you safe. Do this or else you're not being safe. Yeah, I told you, this is being real. And it's a very slippery slope, and it's not okay when they start really messing with our rights and welfare and well-being and literally making it worse as a result of the bad decisions and ways that they are handling this. And the government isn't our superhero. I've been dealing with them for over 14 years with my business. They're not freaking, they don't know everything. Half the time they're so stupid and their systems have the worst communication ever. So even a good idea doesn't even, by the time it gets down to where it's really put into action, doesn't even happen. They say, oh, if we close it down, we'll have this funds available. And then you apply for the funds. It takes months, if you ever even get it, and you spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on it. Tons of people haven't even got anything. A lot of the stuff hasn't even gone through, and it just keeps taking more and more hours away from the energy that we can be focusing on making our places safer, continuing to grow and develop our businesses, and making the world a better place while we be safe and wear masks and put the protocols in place and keep moving forward. But this whole fear-based crap, like if you don't do this, I'm gonna threaten to shut you down, the governor of Ohio says. How dare you? These executive orders need to end because this isn't a dictatorship. And the silent majority is way bigger than you think. It's because most of us aren't whiny little, I don't have a kind word for it, that get on the media and the news and write all this victim mentality and me. No, we're busy behind the scenes changing lives, fueling the economy, making sure we pay our team members, providing health benefits for them. And it's very convenient when the schools close and we still pay taxes and they still get all the funding and you still get your salaries. Same with the government, same with the Congress, by the way, because you're not a freaking business. Businesses are the backbone of America that pay your salaries. So don't feel guilty, feel proud about the business that you have built. Feel very proud. And it's okay to have all these different emotions, but I'm telling you, something else to do, and we did it at our all-team meeting a couple months ago, is we shared all these different stories of our why, of all these testimonials from parents of how Dreamshine has changed the lives of the amazing individuals with developmental disabilities that we serve. I had all the families write them in. My team had them write them in. I read them out loud at the meeting. I was tearing up, and this wasn't about me. It was about my team. I called the Dream Team. And I'm saying, you see what you're doing every day? You're changing lives. And we unified even more, and it helped us continue to remember our why. And that's what I want you to do, is keep tapping into that why and that foundational faith that you have. Because that real foundational faith in God doesn't only just come when a storm hits, it's something that you have built up and continue to build up. So when these storms hit, no matter how bad it gets, like I said, I was crying, I continue to take it to God, and that's where my true foundation is, with Christ. So therefore, I know I can never go wrong, and through Christ, I can do all things, and all things are possible. And that's why in the Bible, Jesus tells us, God tells us, focus on all things that are good. Because you see, he knows our mind can default to negative, and if we continue to just keep absorbing and focusing on all this negativity, only the negativity that the news and social media and the conversations out there are bringing at us, that's what you're going to be living in. You're going to create your own reality. You're going to go freaking insane, and God says no. Okay, get the facts, but then take your focus to all things that are good. How are we going to get to a whole other level through this? What are we learning through this? Hey, not only how can we get a cure, how can we be safer, but what great things are we going to learn about taking back freedom of speech and making sure it's never taken away again after this? Right? What other beautiful platforms are going to be created as a result of what we've seen of how things like Twitter and Facebook have blocked and dictated, and even YouTube have taken away freedom of speech? Watch the cool things that will innovate and elevate throughout this. So many amazing things will come. So many amazing things are yet to come and are happening. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you, because God is with us. So don't give up. Don't you dare give up. And it's okay to go through all this crap and feel ups and downs and worried and scared and angry and sad, but continue to go back to your foundational faith and your why and keep pushing forward and onward and upward, and don't you dare give up. And another thing too is exercise. My God, the gym that I go to, they were trying to close down. No way. That is keeping my sanity. Exercise, I promise you, you need it forever. It's good for your mindset, it's good for your soul, it's good for your immune system. That's something else I hope can be a great thing that comes throughout this, which they don't talk about, which is one of the key things. Continue to exercise, continue to be more healthy, continue to focus on you more and building that immune system and taking care of yourself so you can take care of others at a whole other level. I've been going to the gym even more than ever, and that's a great thing, focusing on all that's good. I'm gonna keep working out more than ever through this and after this, and it's becoming the next level of the new normal for me for the rest of my life. So thank you, God, for that. Listen, everyone, like Winston Churchill says, never, never, never quit. And as God tells us, focus on all things that are good. There's so many great things. Never settle. I love all of you so much. I love you. You're amazing. Never give up. And keep elevating beyond.